to silence and put away cell phones. If you need to conduct personal business during the meeting, please make a motion to recess. For those participating by phone, please keep your device muted unless speaking. When speaking, please remember to state your name for the benefit of those viewing the live stream. As a reminder, the meeting is being broadcast live. The camera is located above the clock at the back of the council chambers. Our proceedings follow Robert's Rules of Order in accordance with Wasilla Municipal Code 2.04.090. To promote an orderly and respectful meeting, I respectfully ask the council to observe the following rules. Please seek recognition before speaking. No member may speak more than twice on the same motion without a vote to suspend the rules. No member may speak a second time until all who wish to speak have done so. These guidelines help ensure fairness, efficiency, and mutual respect in our discussions. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cottle.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Councilmember Crafton.
Here.
Councilmember Velock.
Here.
Councilmember Rubio.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cottle is participating telephonically. Councilmembers Graham, Schmidt, Crafton, Velock, and Rubio are present in chambers. And also for the record, our City Attorney Holly Wells is telephonic.
Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Graham, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Before any amendments are considered, Councilmember Rubio has a conflict of interest to declare.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to declare a financial interest in action memorandum number 25-36, which proposes awarding a contract to Big Dipper Construction, a company owned by my father, and therefore considered an immediate family member under WMC 2.01.010. I wish to be excused from the participation in the matter to include discussion and action on the item under WMC 2.01.040.
I rule in favor of Councilmember Rubio's conflict of interest. Are there changes to the agenda? Mr. Graham.
Madam Mayor, thank you. So I would like the following items moved to new business. First is item 8.2.1, ordinance serial 2522. The second being item 8.4.1, AM 2534. Also AM 2537, which is item 8.4.3, and item 8.4.4, IM 2539, and that is all. Thank you.
Are there any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as amended. There are no special orders of the day. We are now at Commission and Agencies report. We will now hear from Acting City Planner Nygaard regarding the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. The Planning Commission did meet on Tuesday, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and we did pass legislation for a rezone over, actually there was a rezone for Bayview, which was a rezone from rural residential, and that was declined, and then we were denied, and then we also had a permit for a accessory dwelling permit for a single-family home over on Wasilla Lake, and that too was denied. And that's my report. Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may, at the Planning Commission meeting, the discussion about what is item 8.2.1 today, which is the rezone, there was discussion, one of the council members was thinking about asking for reconsideration on that vote, and was waiting for a ruling from the attorney. Did that ruling come back as far as the council members' ability to request a reconsideration?
We have not heard back. I do know that we will follow up with them tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. We will now hear from Recreational Service Director Bill for his director's report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, Scott Bell, Recreational Services Director. The intent today is to do an overall review of the Menard Sports Center's revenue and kind of the breakdown of how everything has occurred over the years. With the usual disclosure to the finance people, the FY25 numbers are not audited, confirmed. So these are our current numbers in the system, but that may change just a little. So the first slide is just recapping the revenue that's been budgeted to operate, operating the Menard Sports Center. So this year, our projected or approved revenue was $953,000. Our actual revenues this year were $1,173,624. And so hopefully you can see an excellent trend upward. So the next slide kind of breaks down a little bit more of the actual directly against budget. So you can see the spread as we've gone over the last 5 years, with again, budget trending up. The revenue budgeted amount historically a while back had been inputted by the finance director. So some of those numbers, I think, track to conservative projections. Then kind of a little bit clearer picture. So this year we generated $220,624 over our revenue budget, 23.2% increase above that. And so you can kind of see the trend from the year before. We were 15.8, year before that 15%. And then as you can see the COVID line item there. This slide is really just kind of a breakdown of the categories that we have that is set up in the financial software. So facility rental fees accounted for $1,045,053, approximately 89% of our overall revenue. And then advertising concessions. So advertising or concessions is our commissions off of vending machine services, things like that. Lease fees are for the leased spaces like Wasilla Youth Soccer and Concession Solutions. And then naming rights is all part of the revenue with MTA that has the naming rights of our turf arena. And other is interest and fees, small amount there that would be stuff that money that we get back, for example, from public auction or late fees, things like that that are charged. So that's an overall breakdown of the revenue per our accounting system. Here's just a kind of a breakdown of by revenue by the ice arena. So not necessarily ice operations by itself, but a culmination of our associations, hockey associations, events, high schools, like Colony High School, Brooks Ice, tournaments, camps, and private ice rental or leagues that we've had. So we had a 22.7% increase over last year's revenue in the ice arena. Right there on the bottom is their top 5 associations by dollar amount. So you can kind of see who is using our facilities through the association side of it. Turf arena, this is primarily, again, our soccer associations and then a lot of collective use by baseball, Special Olympics, there's some football. This has been a pretty flat, obviously, chart on revenue. part of our, in the very bottom right asterisk there, so Matsu Seahawks, the year before had spent about $20,000, but they did not return. So, but we are only $4,000 off, so we increased about 15,000, but overall we're decreased in the turf arena. Revenue by events, so these are our, what we call our permitted events. Rotary Uncorked, Rev Alaska, Outdoorsman Show, all those types of activities. Revenue there is this year's $312,384. And you can see the year before we kind of had a spike with Arctic Winter Games of $50,000 of revenue. So we didn't have that obviously return, but we still increased our revenues. Then of our events, we break it down. So 16% of the event users are profit organizations, 49% is nonprofit, 36% is schools or government. And then our breakdown right now is about 60% of our events are single day and 40% are multi-day. Our customer retention is 24% new customers this year, 76% return. And sometimes in that number, we have somebody that will do an event here one year, then they go away for a year, like they go to Anchorage or Fairbanks and they come back. So we have a little bit of that coming back and forth. So this is a graph of our 5-year average for our kind of quote other income, advertising, concessions, lease fees, naming rights, and other interests and fees. So you can kind of just see our running average. This year, we had a lower budget projection, but we did exceed that number from the year previously. Some of the math moves around. In accounting, back in 22, 23, the MTA agreement was all put under one category, and then it got split into naming rights. So this going forward, where you see in 2025 the 50,000, that is naming rights specific. So there's not any money in the advertising as it was in 2024. So, but overall, big picture, we're tracking well there in all those revenues. And this is kind of a great chart of kind of our day-to-day operations outside the big shiny events and the ice rentals and things like that. So you can kind of see this is all our activities and admissions running from batting cage down to turf time for tots. And so every category this year increased other than two, and it was only by $513 under on those. But so we had a $74,208 increase over the year before in this account, or in these categories, which is a 46.6% increase from FY24 to 25. Really, again, highlighting just how much activity is going on. Some of the number changes are based on program expansion, pricing, new service or new event or things like that. Great example there is public ice skating is up $16,000, almost double. Come out to the Menard Center on a Sunday night for a public skate. You can hang out with 100 or so of your favorite Wassillans, and we're generating well over $1,000, $1,200 on just one public skate. So we're just having a lot of success with those programs. And that is a recap of our revenues. Any questions?
Mr. Groom.
Thank you. Scott, I have 2 questions for you. First, a comment. Congratulations. Things are going well out there, and obviously your leadership has a lot to do with that. But when I look at your actual revenue of, $1.17 million, you say about $512,000 of that comes from the ice part of the arena, which is less
No,
than...
it's the whole arena activities. So anything that occurs in the arena space, that is in that amount of money.
Okay, revenue by ice arena, $512,000. Is that incorrect?
That is correct. So that would be if an event is held in the ice arena.
Right. Right.
things like that, yeah,
Right,
so,
yeah, that space, which is about, you know, not quite 2/3 of the space there.
yeah.
But, you know, less than half of your total revenue of $1.17 million comes from that larger space there. Do you think that's being utilized to its full potential or nearing its full potential at this point? Or is it just the people that are renting the ice, because when the ice is in, there's so much demand, it kind of pushes other people out? And then the second question would be, many venues, when they have large events, you know, like these shows that we have there, where you've got, you know, parking issues, charge parking fees. So is that something that you have looked at? So those two questions.
The second one, we haven't looked at parking as a fee-based part of our operation. Certainly, we're investing a lot of money in the parking. It hasn't been looked at yet. A lot of it, I think, is if we kind of compare ourselves to Anchorage, where they are charging parking, say if you're at the Denina Center or places like that. We were, you know, hearing some of, like the Outdoorsman Show organizer, that a big reason they come out here is because one, it's easy to have parking, find parking, and two, they don't have to pay a lot for parking. Certainly something to consider. It would require some infrastructure to do it safely, and that's kind of a concern. If we have a large event and I've got 200-300 vehicles trying to come in, and what backup that may or may not cause on to Clap, but certainly willing to consider it in the big picture. To the first question, so the ice arena and the turf arena were subject to seasons. So come June 1st or 2nd, that is usually our last event until hockey starts back up in late July. So we usually have 2 months of just absolutely minimal revenue. Similar to the turf, when we get into June, when soccer goes outside and everything's nice, the turf field literally gets minimal usage. And so we have 2 to 3 months that the facility is just not getting any kind of traffic for events or anything like that, because a lot of the event holders don't want to compete with our weather, our hunting, our fishing, and things like that. And as we've talked before, part of our revenue challenge is if I have an event, most of the time I'm not having a sporting activity like hockey. So we max out in certain ways. We try to balance how many events that we have that disrupt, if it's the hockey or the soccer leagues and things like that. So we just keep finding ourselves with one space or our 2 primary spaces trying to serve 3 major populations: events, turf usage, arena usage, and that kind of all that combination. So the big challenge really is we have just a seasonal dead period, which for us operationally is our recovery time. It's when we restore the building back to what we like to think is nice looking conditions. We repair things and get as much work done during that time as possible. But it's, you know, we're all the other months when we're in regular operation are averaging probably $80,000 to $120,000 a month of revenue. We're just not generating that 2 months, 2.5 months of the year, if that answers your question.
So would that mean that, in your opinion, you know, based on the seasonal limitations, we're kind of nearing the limitations of use for the Menard Center?
In some aspects, yes. And others, there's, again, I can't have soccer during school time. So again, there's gaps of non-usage, but when we have what you'd be considered prime, pretty much, yes. I mean, again, I turn away either events because I've committed to leagues or leagues that have to not have activities because of the events. So the event component, again, it's $300,000+ is a huge component of our success, but it has a direct impact on all our youth programs and other users.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, seeing no others, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Okay. We are now at public hearing. There are two ordinances scheduled for public hearing. Madam Clerk, please read the first ordinance and its accompanying AM by title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 2520, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by accepting and appropriating $1,718,175 from the Matanuska-Susitna Borough for upgrading the 911 telephone system at the Matcom Dispatch Center. And secondly, AM number 2538, contract award to Motorola Solutions in the amount of $1,718,175 for Vesta 911 call handling system.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 2520 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2520 and AM number 2538?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Crafton.
I move ordinance serial number 2520 and its accompanying AM.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to adopt ordinance serial number 2520 and approve AM number 2538. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Crafton?
thank you, Mayor. I think I saw Lori back there. Would you mind if she came up and explained this new system? I read through it, but it didn't feel like I got quite enough information of what exactly it is.
Lori, would you come and,
Hi, Lori Creaky, Matcom. It's a new call handling system to replace our Solacom, which is through Comtech. Solacom the contract's up this year, so we went and got a new bid for the new call handling system. This is with Motorola. Vesta has been around in the business for many, many years. I've used it and stood up a statewide call handling system in the state of Kansas with Vesta, so I've used it. It's very easy and friendly to use, easy to train on. It's going to be something great for the staff and for the citizens as well. It offers us a lot of new technologies that we don't have out there now. So we'll have text to 911. We'll even have language translation, just a lot of new ways to communicate with the public. We can even send video links to their cell phone to be able to see what they see, which can be very critical and important, especially when they're in areas where we need to know, can we land a helicopter, bring an airplane in, what do we need to do to get additional resources to people. So lots of new technology with this new call handling system.
If I could continue.
Mr. Crafton?
So the current software we have doesn't offer some of these technologies, or were they just too expensive, or kind of why the change of it sounds like it's a completely different platform and company.
It is. We have, since I've been here, we have had nothing but difficulties with dealing with Comtech. I've been trying to stand up text to 911 on our current system. Should have been an easy 6-month thing. Just contact the carriers with the FCC, boom, get it up and running. It's almost a year and a half later and we still don't have it. And they've put us off again, and we won't have it until probably the end of this month on our current technology. It's simple SMS technology. It shouldn't be that hard, but we constantly get put on the back burner, and just our support has been horrendous. With Motorola, we'll have Procom here locally, so they've assured me that they are going to take care of us. So got a good relationship with Motorola, but so that's one of the issues. Comtech's platform is just, they're trying to sell their call handling. They're wanting to get basically just into next generation core services. So that's the EZNet that the 911 systems operate off, and getting out of the legacy world. So that's more what they're wanting to focus on than the call handling, and then their support's just been bad. So I've had prior history with Motorola through working in Kansas for years, and they're just a very trusted and reliable platform, so. Lots of options. They also recently purchased Rapid Deploy, which is a new mapping system, and that mapping system also offers a lot of flexibility and new technologies that we haven't had access to. So things with being able to bring in traffic cameras and having everything in one place. There's just lots of options that we don't have that we will have access to. So.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, and thank you, Lori. So, for those who don't know, this talks about a grant from Mat-Su Borough. I mean, there is a committee, a joint committee between the cities, between state users and MATCOM that talk about this, once a month. I mean, they talk about what MATCOM needs and how MATCOM's doing and that sort of thing. And it's a very forward-looking committee, as well as a very finite committee in as far as addressing issues that they've had. So I just want to, bring forward, my appreciation for the folks that serve on that, for MTA, which does a great job, trying to keep up with the technology over there and making sure that what you're talking about is actually what's going to happen in the real world versus the government world. So bringing this forward, I think is an outstanding idea. And by having this grant from the Mat-Su Borough, which essentially is funded by the 911 surcharge that we all pay on our lines.
Yes.
So thank you for looking forward enough to bring this forward, and I look forward to having a better service on MATCOM, which is already providing a fine service, but could certainly do better. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Lori. Okay, Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance, and it's accompanying AM by title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 2521, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by appropriating $5,960 from the general fund balance to fund the increase in the Animal Care and Regulation Services Agreement between the City of Wasilla and the Matanuska-Susitna Borough for fiscal year 2026, and with it AM number 2540, contract award to the Matanuska-Susitna Borough in the amount of $35,959 for animal care services.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 2521 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2521 and AM number 2540?
Madam Mayor, I move ordinance serial number 2521 with AM number 2540.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Biglock and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to adopt ordinance serial number 2521 and approve AM number 2540. Is there discussion? Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we just recently completed, I think, 13 meetings on the budget, a record number that I can recall, and yet we missed this item by 20%, the cost of this item by 20%. How does that happen? I mean,
Because we hadn't had a contract in, 2 years? A year or two. Anyway, the contract was way out of date, so we went with numbers that we'd had.
okay, yeah, I just find it kind of disconcerting that we missed it by so much. I mean, things happen, but, I mean, we spent countless amount of hours on that budget. And to miss something this simple, even though it's only $6,000, I mean, what else did we miss that could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars? So I'm just concerned, and I hope when these things come forward in the future, we can say, hey, this is why we missed it, and this is what we need to do. I think that would be nice to see on the staff report.
To Councilmember Graham through the mayor, there has been a pretty significant turnover at the Matsu Burroughs Animal Shelter, and they did apologize for them having a very long delay even getting this to us. It was after the fact, and they said that the entire staff at the the animal shelter had quit, and that they were trying to recover and trying to put everything together. So this is something that is not entirely on us. It's a problem that the borough had, and we were trying to work with them to resolve it.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. Please note that this is not a question and answer period. Speakers may be referred to administration, and items raised may be taken under advisement. And the first one, Mr. Stearns.
Good evening. My name is Tom Stearns. I'm the Senior Ambassador for the Wasilla Area Seniors Incorporated.
Tom, could you press the button on the mic and turn it on? Thank you.
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
why it didn't sound like I was on. Do I get my 14 or 15 seconds back? All right. My name is Tom Stearns. I'm the Senior Ambassador for the Wasilla Area Seniors Incorporated. We have just finished our Miles for Meals, and we had a auction, well, not an auction, we had something. Anyway, coming up, we have the farmers market coupons. If you're interested in those, you have to be at our place on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday from 1 to 2 to pick those up. On the 14th of August, we're going to have the 90th anniversary of the signing of the Social Security Act. And for maybe half of you here, that applies. And applies to me. And so come, that'll be at 12:30 at our place at Wassy. On the 19th, on the 21st and the 28th of August, there'll be a shuttle going from Wassy to the State Fair. And that will be on that date. And I didn't get a time on when it's leaving. And then the Board of Directors meeting is on the 14th instead of the 21st. Please don't ask me to explain why. It would take way too long. So, Miles for Meals. Why is that important? Well, I'm going to tell you by stories of people that we've helped. When we go out to deliver meals, that's not all we do. This past month, we were honored to support close to 60 seniors with essential services that help them live safely and independently in their homes. One especially meaningful story came from one of our dedicated chore workers, Dawn Jeyu, who advocated for a senior in urgent need of home repairs. Her front and back steps were unsafe. Her kitchen sink leaked so badly it was unusable. And while we had funds to purchase the materials, we didn't have the labor to complete the work. Partnering with her church, King's Chapel, they rebuilt the steps and repaired the sink. In addition, we had enough funds to purchase cleaning supplies to restore a safe and healthy home environment. In another case, a nearly blind senior was living without a phone. Oh, am I done?
Go ahead.
All right. In another case, a nearly blind senior was living without a phone, leaving him isolated and unable to call for help. Thanks to the teamwork of Tiffany, Wasse's Healthy Aging Manager, Kathy Baker, Transportation Supervisor, and Aaron, our Meals on Wheels driver, we were able to provide him with a voice-activated phone, giving him greater safety and connection to his community. That's what Miles for Meals does. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stearns. Tim Johnson?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. It's good to be back in chambers. It feels sort of like home. Thank you. And again, I apologize for my sort of abrupt departure. Anyway, I'm here tonight to talk about a problem that I see on Susitna Avenue. I am president of the Lakeview Homeowners Association, and in front of us on Susitna Avenue, on the road going from connecting to the railroad, this last week we've had on the average of 80 to 100 trucks per day. Now that is really being driven by the major project at the health center up on KGB. Now I realize that because of the connector on KGB to the parks, that there's nothing much that's going to happen with these trucks. They're almost forced into that just because of the turn situation in the lanes. But next year, we're looking at the Main Street project. I doubt that we're gonna be able to change anything with the trucks coming up and down Susitna. I'm not really complaining about that. We're gonna have to live with progress for the next 2 years. However, in order to handle those trucks, we need to make several small changes so that we don't have a real disaster. I'm suggesting 3 different changes. Number 1, the corner of Susitna and Susitna going towards the railway station really needs to be re-radiused. We've already had 1 truck miss the corner and really almost take out the whole culvert. Number 2, cars coming eastbound down Susitna move very, very quickly. Seeing as there's no stop sign, they run around that corner very, very quickly. And with trucks coming up the hill, we had a near disaster, almost a head-on, because the car came around so fast you couldn't see the truck coming up the hill. So I'd like a stop sign on the eastbound side of Susitna as it makes that corner. That shouldn't be all that big a deal, but it could save a life. And realizing that there is a park just on the other side of the road there. And the third thing is, where the Susitna makes the corner towards the railway station, there's a lot of trees and brush. This totally obscures the driver's view in both directions about what's coming around there. If we could remove those trees and brush, cut it down so you would have visibility around that corner, it could maybe even save a life or a major accident. Thank you.
Okay, we are now on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the items for approval under the consent agenda by title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have the special meeting minutes, July 7th, 2025, 2 of our 3 introductions, recommended public hearing on August 11th, 2025, ordinance serial number 2523, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by appropriating grant funds from the Federal Aviation Administration in the amount of $361,411 and matching funds in the amount of $19,022 from the general fund balance for the Wasilla Municipal Airport Perimeter Fencing Project, ordinance serial number 2524, correcting the allocation of funds within the adopted fiscal year 2026 budget, We have two AMs left on our consent agenda. The first is AM number 2535, confirmation of election officials for the October 7th, 2025 regular election, and AM number 2541, contract amendment to Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $559,216 for wastewater treatment plant professional services, including effluent discharge related design, land acquisition services, and permitting.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton,
Thank you, Mayor. I move the consent agenda as read.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Schmidt to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. There is no unfinished business. We are now on to new business. Madam Clerk, ordinance serial number 2522.
Madam Mayor, bear with me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Ordinance serial number 2522, amending the official zoning map of the city of Wasilla to change the zoning district from rural residential to commercial for lots 1 through 14 of Coring subdivision, Fred Nelson subdivision, tract 11, and township 17 north, range 1 west, section 3, lot 13, Wasilla, Alaska, for an effective date. This is a introduction, recommended public hearing, August 11, 2025.
Okay. Is there a motion to introduce ordinance serial number 2522?
Madam Mayor, I move to introduce ordinance 2522.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
The motion has been made by Councilmember Graham, seconded by Councilmember Rubio to introduce ordinance serial number 2522
Public hearing on August
with
11th.
public hearing on August the 11th. Mr. Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to express my concern for the dates on this. Our next Planning Commission meeting is on August the 12th. On August the 11th, there will be an opportunity for people to speak, and this will just be an introduction at that time. But I just wanted to bring up again what I had mentioned to Ms. Nygaard, is that one of the planning commissioners expressed fairly eloquently, I thought, her concern that a fairly minimal number, even though it was a majority number of lot owners, but a minimal number of lot owners agreed to this, and the fact that she was considering or looking at reconsidering this ordinance. So I just want to make sure that we're aware of that fact moving into this, so we don't get the cart ahead of the horse. I think we'll be fine with the dates that we have, but there certainly is potential for this to be postponed depending on what happens, at the next Planning Commission meeting. Thank you.
Holly, you want to weigh in on this?
Mayor, I'm sorry. Councilmember Graham cut out a little bit. Can he repeat what he said?
Certainly. Holly, at the last Planning Commission meeting, one of the council members expressed, or not council members, the commission members expressed a desire to know the process for reconsidering on this, and the answer from the Planning Commission at that time was they did not know, and they were going to check with you, but to find out what that process was, so that this may be reconsidered depending on this particular commission member's desire there. So I think what the mayor was asking for is there a process for reconsidering commission decisions?
Okay, thank you. I thought that was what you said, but you were in and out every other word for me, so I wanted to be sure. No, when we look at a rezone, we're looking at a legislative process. When the Planning Commission weighs in, the code tells us exactly what that process looks like. It's silent on reconsideration, and so we don't have a process, which is why we weren't sure when that question was asked. That said, it's legislative. It is not the hearing procedure. You know, we do have reconsideration proceedings and processes, say, for a hearing officer, but this is not a quasi-judicial decision. This is a decision that is considers the best interest of the community and applies criteria under the code. So given that we don't have a reconsideration process in the code, and it's not really anticipated, I think that, you know, in this case, the commission considered the criteria, it considered the testimony, and it made a decision. Arguably, we could go through a process in which we start over again, or a resolution is issued by the planning commission that disagrees with the decision that they issued on that date. All of these things create complications. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that we start there. To the extent the commission wants to consider a reconsideration process, then I think the best course of action is to consider a resolution proposing an ordinance to council that does that. But I think to change course in the middle of a process will be very confusing for the public.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Ms. Rubio?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I was just noticing, so the title says commercial to industrial, and then the summary says rural residential to commercial. I don't know if we need to fix that up in the title to change the zoning from commercial to industrial.
What page are you on?
On the staff report.
177.
It says to change the zoning from commercial to industrial for lot 3. But down in the summary statement is, we're changing from RR to commercial, right?
I see.
Well,
I
I
think
think
that's-
through the chair to it's not even right. The staff report references Olympic.
Yeah, that's what I was,
Is
I
this
highlighted
related
it,
to
so-
coring or Olympic?
I think
This is coring,
that's what I
was
thought.
what the planning
So we
commission looked
need
at.
A new.
revised staff report.
a new- Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Madam Clerk. I forgot where we're at. 2534?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, AM number 2534, would you please read?
Thank you. Contract award to K&H Civil Constructors LLC in the amount of $102,890 for the Lake Lucille Red Trail improvements.
Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2534.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
The motion has been made and seconded to move, to approve AM number 2534 for public hearing on August the,
Just for approval tonight.
oh, I'm sorry, okay. Just for approval on August 11th? Tonight, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there, discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So looking through this and looking through the staff report, again, of course, our portion of this, the city's portion of this is about $58,000. But I don't recall this being one of the CIP projects that we looked at. Did I miss that somewhere, or is this coming out of a different, that $58,000 coming out of a different pot of money, maybe under a grant match or something, or where is this money coming from? It's just saying the general funds, so.
Eric, Public Works Director?
Thank you, through the mayor. Yeah, so, let me pull up the AM that has the financial sheet. So the funding comes from two sources. So it will be the grant and then out of the Parks Improvement Fund.
Okay, but didn't we have a significant discussion, I think, led by council member to my right here about how large projects should be before they become CIP versus regular maintenance funds? It seems to me we had probably at least an hour's worth of discussion over several different meetings about, you know, when we're gonna have these fairly substantial projects, $60,000 is a substantial project, that should be identified as a capital improvement project, not just as a maintenance thing. And in this case, it is truly a capital improvement project. We are improving the park. We're not maintaining the park. We are improving the park. We're adding a trail where no trail exists, according to the staff report. This is an improvement project. I don't know. I'm a bit concerned that, you know, once again, we're kind of having this lack of transparency when it comes to this sort of thing. I fully think that this is a project that should happen, and I will vote for it, but I don't like the process when things are not transparent.
Through the mayor, so maybe I can ask Mr. Ted Leonard, but I believe that the 110 account is a larger improvement project account for parks. I don't have all the accounts.
110 would be a capital improvement project account, and I'd have to.
And in other staff reports that we have in front of us today, it clearly identifies capital improvement projects. This one does not. So that's my concern.
We can do a more complete job explaining this. This was a carryover, trying to work with the Matsu Parks Trail crew for a few years now, trying to get a project. So this came on the cusp. You'll notice in the staff report that the grant was approved in March. So the budget had already been submitted and it was kind of finalized in structure. So,
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Grafton?
Thank you, Mayor. To jump on what Mr. Graham was saying here, so the 110 is a capital improvement, or it's a CIP account, but this is all park improvements, and if I recall, that wasn't in CIP, or was it? Did we have a whole? I feel like this one wasn't in there. It was under the Parks Department budget that we had this specific account. Sorry, now I wish I had my budget book with me.
Do you want to take a Patty's? I have my budget.
We'll have a 5-minute at ease.
Oh, I was just
We are back on the record at 6:58. Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. Ted, if 251, if you want to find where I'm at here. So we have, in the capital improvements, we had a park improvements section. And then on page 143, that was the other part that I was going back and forth with, which is the parks maintenance and how we had a whole 45, I mean, it's technically almost $100,000 for various maintenance. And so the long conversation we had going back and forth was the clarification of what's a repair, what's an improvement. Because the explanation we got was pretty much all repairs end up becoming an improvement, but where do we draw the line between what's a repair and what's an improvement? And so I see how we're using the parks improvements, because it says continued improvements to trails, etc. So, I guess this just wasn't detailed out in here. I mean, my gosh, we talked a lot about this one, so. Again, it's not that I'm opposed to it, I'm just trying to, like what Mr. Graham said, we're just trying to understand what this gets classified as. So I guess maybe if you want to shed some light, if you could, on the reasoning behind it, if we could, Mayor.
Just, excuse me, Councilman Crafton, I just messed up all my packet, but again, you're correct. We have probably 2 carryovers with MSTF grant projects and park improvement city match. Then we do have in the council, or the budget, 75,000 in park improvements. And I'd have to go back and look again in the ordinance to verify without my laptop here whether or not the council deleted that line item.
Which one?
Park improvements.
No, we kept it. It was still in here because there was $166,000 in it, so we didn't touch it.
Right.
I'm trying to remember if we just didn't add anything to it. If that would be the question I more so have.
And yes, we were able to carry over per code on CIPs, and then there's 2 questions, right? A code for a project. Monies can be brought over a 5-year period as long as they haven't been spent. And so we did have 166 probably carryover. And then the other projects were also carryovers of the funds. Now the definition of what a CIP is in essence really with the council working with administration, because improvements over a certain dollar amount, say anything over 5,000 for the city right now in a regular code, I believe I'm going back and my memory is a piece of capital equipment. And that comes into play with the definition of what an improvement would be, where you have to depreciate an improvement. And so anything to a park or to a building, for example, if we did an improvement to this building, would be, by definition, since it has to be depreciated, if this makes sense, please, could be classified as a CIP and not a repair. The difference between, as you have already said, and Councilmember Graham, is what's the difference between a repair and a improvement is in essence based on repairs are recognized in the period of time, and an improvement is recognized over a period of time, that cost. Does that?
It makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, a repair is just bringing it back to its original condition just to get by, whereas an improvement's bringing it into a better condition where it can be then depreciated over time. So yes, it's making sense. Another follow-up question, if I could, Mayor. Looking at the two other grants that we received, normally we don't just accept a grant and then figure out what we're gonna do with it. Usually we have a project in mind. And I'm trying to remember, and Ted, I'll forgive you here since, you're probably not fully aware of where we're at here with this. When we accepted these, is this what the project's intention was, or are these leftover grant funds from somewhere else? And I guess, how did we get to this, question is, how did we get to this project, I guess?
Through the mayor to Councilman Crafton, excuse me. Again, it does meet the requirements under the grant, and I would have to go back to the grant document, or else, I wouldn't have had my staff tell me it was an allowable expense under this grant, and where that would probably go, that goes back to for my.
Yeah, so through the mayor, the granting agency was looking for a project, and they kind of self-selected that they wanted to do something at the Lake Lucille Park. And so there was a site visit to walk around, and they said, well, we want our monies to be spent on access trail improvements. And so they walked the existing red trail and said, man, this has a lot of hill change, and we don't really think that it meets the needs for the groups that they pointed out. They wanted more ADA compliance. So they selected the new route as they went on a trek across the park and said, let's try to do this. And so that's where kind of the genesis of the scope came in. And so then the grant documents were written up to talk about the red trail at Lake Lucille Park. And then those were accepted through the ordinance that's listed, and then it went out to bid so that the construction could take place for those improvements.
Okay, ordinance serial number 25-08 that has already been passed by you guys. This accepts and appropriates $37,500 from Mat-Su Trails and Parks Foundation for improvements to the Red Trail at Lake Lucille Park. Trail improvements will include 25-foot clearing, grubbing, drainage, and E1 surfaced 10-foot top width trail loop approximately 0.4 of a mile. This grant has a $12,500 match that will come out from our current budget for match grant monies of $35,000. Total for this project will be $50,000.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, don't remember every single one we go through, so appreciate the summary there.
Madam Mayor. I don't know if it needs to be switched from roads to parks, but at the top of page 288 where it says department, I believe that needs to say parks, maybe?
That should be, and that's an error on my not tying that to.
We're human. That's why I'm here for you.
Not me. Anyway.
I appreciate it. I think that was my 7th day on the job. But
He's the new kid on the block.
Don't start counting. We got your 6. Thank you.
All right. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Madam Clerk, AM number 2537.
Yes, ma'am. Contract award to Birch Horton Bittner and Sherrill for an amount not to exceed $227,000 for general legal counsel services for fiscal year 2026.
Is there a motion?
Madam
Mr.
Mayor,
Graham,
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2537.
is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
The motion has been made by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Rubio. Is there discussion? Mr. Graham?
Madam Mayor, so my question would be is what amount was billed by our legal counsel for FY 2025? And I realize we may have an invoice still outstanding from them, and is this number, does it line up with what we have done in the past? Because I know we get invoices from all the time, we get sued, we get, consults, we have all sorts of fun things that get funneled through that legal account. I was just wondering if this is in line with what we do, and if we don't know that number, that's okay. If we came back at a future council meeting and let me know that, that would be fine.
Through Mayor Ledford to Councilmember Graham, off the top of my head, if you wanted to give me 5 minutes, I could go search that through, but we can provide that number to you. And
I don't think we need a recess to do this, but as I mentioned before, I mean, we spend an inordinate amount of time on the budget, and it would be nice to know that the numbers that are being presented are in line with that budget. So personally, I would like an email to the clerk saying what that number is that she can then disseminate to the council.
And I would say that this is in line with the budget passed, that we went through the funding verification for the FY '26 budget and is in line with that budget. But to give you that exact number, I would have to go back.
Right, and just like before when I mentioned we missed one by 20%, I mean, I'd kind of like to know how far we're missing this one, so, thank you.
I could state, again, Councilmember Graham, just quickly, is that this is in line, but you're right. As we all know with the budget, it is a projection without knowing how many hours we're going to utilize. And I could even work with the clerks on that portion and let you know how many hours of legal services we use with the dollar amount, if that's.
Yeah, for what we know, which would be last year, once the final billing for June comes through from that.
And we do have the last billing is going through right now, our signatures, so.
So if you could,
I
if you
can
could
have
follow
that
up with an email, that would be great, thank
email
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Probably Councilmember Graham.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Madam Clerk, AM number 2539.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Contract award to H Construction in the amount of $39,128 for the Teeland House roofing project.
Mr. Graham, I need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2539.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
The motion has been made by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Velock. Is there a discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
So as many of you know, the city owns the Teeland House, the big building over there that says Teeland on it, that is currently the sub shop, Crazy Moose sub shop over there. But we lease that building to the Connect Historical Society under a long-term lease. And as I recall, we're not leasing that for a whole lot of money. I mean, this $40,000 is many, many, many years of lease payments. Could maybe somebody go over what are the details of the lease and when it's completed and how much we're collecting on that lease, and why we need these roof repairs? I mean, I'm in there once or twice a month, and I haven't seen any issues, but that I'm not really looking for them either. So.
Yeah, so
Public
there's-
Works Director.
There's two issues. One, we're not talking about the same building, Mr. Graham.
Okay.
This is not the Teeland building. I can talk more about the lease on the Teeland building. This is one of the historic buildings in the museum,
The town square.
town square.
Okay, yeah, the map that we gave out was absolutely of no use whatsoever. It was totally illegible to figure out what building it was. But.
The black and white didn't do us justice. So it's one of the buildings in the town square. So this is the replacement roof of that, so that it stops leaking and is replaced for its age.
And is that building being used for anything? I mean, most of those buildings are not being used as anything other than eye candy at this point.
I would say they aren't being used for much. So this is to protect the historic building. I couldn't speak to exactly what programs, maybe the mayor knows, but I don't know how many programs that building's used for.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to answer about the other lease or not discuss it?
No, I'll follow up on that outside of council meeting since it's not on the agenda.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay. New business. AM number 2536. Ms. Rubio, you're excused. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. AM number 2536, contract award to Big Dipper Construction in the amount of $994,230 for the FY 25-26 road paving program.
Is there a motion to approve AM number 2536?
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2536.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I'll second it.
It's been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Schmidt to approve AM number 2536. Is there a discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is year 5 of a 5-year project to pave all gravel roads in the city. And we allocated $1 million a year to do that over that 5-year project. And this year, I think the ask was for 1.2 or 1.25 million, something like that. But I believe we stayed the course at 1 million. So I'm kind of curious what roads remain on the list. I know we've got the West Foggy Drive or West Foggy Bottom Drive, I'm not sure what that is, which was kind of a target of opportunity. If we don't spend all the money this year, then we'll work on that West Foggy Drive road there. But I mean, how many roads and how many linear feet of gravel roads do we have remaining that we didn't get cleaned up in this 5-year project?
Is that what that is? That's the roads in 2.9 miles.
It's that's under this contract. When we get done. Just to clarify, the staff report shows what roads are being done this year, but what I'm interested in is how many linear feet do we have remaining after this year's projects are complete?
Yeah, thank you, through the mayor. I'd be happy to provide you with the complete list with the linear footage and what our cost estimate is for the remaining paving. If I were to generalize, I would say that it's another full year of $1 million in paving, depending on what happens with inflation between the next fiscal budget. But we do have the remaining roads have unique characteristics to them, which will mean that they are more expensive than this last batch. This is really the last group of kind of standard gravel roads that need to have some updates with ditching and kind of the structural base. The remaining roads have something about them that makes them more expensive. And so we'll be bringing back an in-depth explanation on all of the caveats to those roads that we need to finish paving and why they're going to be more expensive than these. So we're very close to finishing after this year.
Okay.
Through the chair to the council, I just want to remind the council, we do have a member who was recused strictly on the basis of the contract award to her family. As a courtesy, if our discussions move into how many linear feet remain, and those, that would be fair to have her back in, so just saying.
Sure, yeah, I moved, I moved this out before the conflict of interest was declared, but yeah, I think that is something that the council is interested in, and whether we want to continue to pave these little 40 and 80 and 150 foot strips of road, but I'm just curious where that went. But thank you, Eric, I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. We are now at communication. Madam Clerk, please read the items by title.
Madam Mayor, do we want to get Alina first?
Okay. Thank you.
She might be home already.
She's like, I'm out of here. It's not bad.
Comments go down.
Okay, items under our communications this evening, we have just commission meeting minutes, Parks and Rec meeting, July 9, 2025, Planning Commission, June 24, 2025.
Okay, thank you. We are at audience comments. We are now at audience comments, which is time for members of the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Seeing no one, we will close audience comments and bring it back to the dais. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one update, candidate filing period for our October 7th election closes this Friday, August 1st. 5 o'clock, we have council seat C on the ballot, that's a one-year term, and then council seats E and F, those are both three-year terms. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor. We'll see you all here next regular meeting, August 11th.
Madam Attorney.
I have no comment, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Cottle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good meeting tonight. I'm glad that the spotty cell service program held out for me to call in, and I will see you all next meeting.
Councilmember Crafton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good meeting tonight. I think this is one of our fastest meetings in a while, so I'll keep it at that. Say have a good night.
And congratulations on the new baby boy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Velock.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, good meeting tonight. Good timing tonight. And I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Councilmember Schmidt.
I guess, wow, that was a quick meeting. I was like surprised. But thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Councilmember Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I would like to apologize for forgetting Councilmember Crafton's name. That's the worst thing that happened tonight. It was a good meeting, so my apologies, Ian, there. We do have a AML summer meeting coming up for some of us that starts on the 11th, for others attending that starts on the 12th. I know I will be calling in, and I think the mayor, you'll be there on the 11th, so we'll be calling in as well. So we'll know what's going on. But this summer meeting is going to be particularly important for AML, because there's going to be a lot of talk about this great big beautiful bill, or one big beautiful bill, whatever it is, and how the wording on that really affects local governments. You know, I mean, it's easy for you know, senators and congressmen to sit up on high and say, yeah, this looks like a really good idea, but since they don't you know, have local government sort of in their pocket to remind them of what's going on until after it happens, it's a real challenge. So this is going to be a very particularly interesting meeting, and I'm really looking forward to it. Also, I noticed on the Parks and Recreation Committee minutes, Parks and Recreation Commission minutes that we just reviewed on item 6.2, Mr. Griffiths, who is our Parks Maintenance and Supervisor, or Maintenance Supervisor for Building and Parks, talked about the Newcomb Park tunnel. We have talked about the tunnel a little bit here in this area, and noted what a consistent public safety problem that the tunnel presents, as well as maintenance and operations problem that presents. So at this time, Madam Mayor, I would like to call for will of the council to ask the administration to investigate permanently closing the Newcomb Park Tunnel, also known as the Rape Tunnel. And for those of you that don't know, that's the tunnel that goes under the railroad from Susitna Avenue over to near Newcomb Park. So I would move that. Do we need a second? How does that work?
Okay, I need a second.
Madam Mayor, I'll second the motion.
The motion's been made by Councilmember Graham, seconded by Councilmember Crafton to get the will of the council on closing the,
To have the administration find out what it would take to close that. Can we legally close it, so on and so forth. So,
a report
Yes.
on closing the tunnel permanently. So is there further discussion on this?
Madam Mayor, it's just a report, so basically you're just gonna come back. Okay. I'll have more questions then, so.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
I believe Mr. Shaw had a comment.
Oh, Eric.
Mayor, if it's all right, well, I'm happy to get you the information you seek. I just need to let you know that that tunnel exists because of the railroad. And they have, one of the reasons we're putting attention back into it, even though it is a problem, is that they alerted us to a trespass issue where people cross the railroad and they, as a federal entity, cannot allow that. And so we're gonna bring back information based on the MOU that was signed with the Parks construction project with DOT, that the city has agreed to keeping it open in perpetuity because of that trespass. One of the things that I have been proposing is through the MPO that we get support to address it, make it more useful. But I'd be happy to have that in a report to you and have legal weigh in on it too.
And that's what I'm asking for, so that the council can understand, why we have that there. Is there a way, for our attorney to look at that and negotiate with the railroad to abandon that memorandum of understanding? So.
Okay, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, motion passes.
I also want to thank everybody for attending tonight. So it's great to have you here. I know it's a lot nicer meeting when it's a lot shorter. So thank you for being here tonight. Have a great night.
Councilmember Rubio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll do my part. Keep it short. Have a great night. Good meeting.
Okay, now it's my turn. Oh no, I'm going to talk for the next 30 minutes. Anyway, thank you guys. Directors, I appreciate your time, and I also appreciate the job that you do with moving this city forward. It takes everybody, not just directors, it takes council too. And the better you work together, the better city that we have. Because whether we like it or not, we are not rural anymore. The federal government says that we are urban. And our Growing Pains says we are urban. So keep that in mind. And thank you all very much and have a good